Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, the podcast where we talk about pop culture things that we enjoy and sometimes don't enjoy. My name is John. I'm joined as always by Andrea. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I find that comment about pop culture things we enjoy and don't very foreshadowing potentially for this
Uh,
evening.
well, we try things that we're interested in,
Yes.
at least one of us, and then hopefully we like them.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, it's always a coin toss on what you're going to like and don't, or what you expect to like and then don't. So we'll see if that comment does indeed portend, you know, some negative things ahead for some of the shows that we're discussing this week.
I'm never negative on this show. I don't know. What you mean.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew that was coming.
Well, yeah, we got in store for everyone later some news relating to gaming stuff,
Mhm.
and then we're going to break down Promised Neverland season 2,
Mhm.
and then Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3. So we've got a variety pack for everybody tonight. If you first bits of the show will be spoiler free, and then as we get on later, there'll be spoilers for Promised Neverland and Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
But yeah, set to mute it for a bit if you don't want to hear about Promised Neverland, or if you're listening to this on demand, skip over it, whatever, that kind of thing. So, anyways, it's a 55th episode. It's a
Mhm.
nice number. But this week, what have you been up to?
Well, this week has been fairly busy, between still caring for a child that I'm still getting used
Still?
to. Still doing that,
Oh,
man.
oh, okay.
I thought I'd be done by now. She's a month already, shouldn't she be fine?
Yeah.
She's got this
Mhm.
by now. Um, but then also Chris's birthday was this weekend, so I was trying to squeeze in some birthday plans for the new dad,
Yeah.
that didn't just involve him, staying up and changing dirty diapers and,
Mhm.
bottle feeding and whatnot. So yeah, so it was fun. I arranged a little breakfast cereal and mimosa bar for him
Okay.
on Sunday, and we watched cartoons, kind of, a little throwback to, childhood with Saturday morning cartoons. So that was pretty fun. And then we went out and went to some batting cages to get ready for softball season, which is coming up. Even though Minnesota tried to stop it with that silly snowfall yesterday,
Right.
you can't stop it. Spring is here, so we're ready to get outside and play some sports. So we did that. We watched the Masters. We grilled steaks, and I made carrot cake for dinner. So yeah, it was a
Nice.
good time. It was, I think, a
Sounds like a
good.
summer event.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
Nice.
So
Nice.
how about you? I know you also had a birthday yesterday. So what were your big birthday plans made by
Yeah,
either
well,
you or your wife?
I was gonna say quickly that your the idea of other than changing dirty diapers, you should just like put a bow on the diaper, like so next time he goes to change, oh, it's a gift you can open. That's perfect. There it is, your birthday
I,
present.
I did put a bow on our baby and did say that, here's your
Okay,
birthday gift this year, but
nice.
I should have
So we're
done
on the
the
same
diaper.
wavelength here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes kind of spread this stuff out, and we're not very good at like waiting to give each other our gifts and stuff sometimes. So,
Mhm.
um, Ashley's kind of given me gifts as they arrive, like the stuff she's got me.
Oh, okay.
So I'll show and tell for the audience. That's
Excellent.
so the first one that came in is kind of interesting. I try not to do very much on Twitter. Um, I guess too much, but um, the I was watching these videos, these making of videos for the game Control that I reviewed on here a while back,
Right.
and I loved hearing from like the audio designer and engineer and stuff, and that's where I learned about Aztec death whistles.
Oh my
and
gosh. Okay, explain
use,
this. I have
so he
never
uses
heard of
these.
this.
Yeah, he uses them in the game for sounds all the time, and like when they play it, it's like, oh, it's really cool how it's blended in there. So basically, you can get them all different to like sizes and shapes and whatever,
Okay.
and they would use them to, in like a horde, like blow into them, and they kind of make a screaming sort of sound to scare their enemies. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay, can you demonstrate very quickly?
I'm worried about how it'll sound.
Come
Alan, is that
on.
gonna blow someone's ears out? Like, is it, or you
You could
got enough like
you could
clipping on
yeah.
here?
Or you could always back up a little bit and try it from a little bit of a distance first, but
I will
I want to hear this bad
definitely,
boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I'll definitely back up.
I want to hear this. Nope, can't hear it. Nope, come forward.
Wow, my noise, I gotta turn my noise canceling off or something.
No.
Really? Wow.
Really?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna turn that off. And then I'll back up again.
I
Uh,
This would be hilarious if we could actually hear it. I'd be trolling you so badly right now, but
yeah.
we really can't. Ah, okay, I heard that.
Is that a little
Oh
better?
my god. Yes. You
Okay.
could definitely hear that. That's terrifying. Oh my
Yeah. So
god.
if you imagine there are like hundreds of them, coming at you, you can't see your enemy yet or something like that. They're in the jungle, and I mean, and they sound different. Like there's varying levels of, it sounds like a scream, or sounds like a
Okay.
strong wind, or whatever. So, but this is from Mexico. Ashley ordered it, and
That
I
is
guess
very
they're
cool.
a delicate process in making. There's this kind of ball in there that of the clay that is easily broken.
Okay.
So that's one. The other thing, I'm gonna leave the noise canceling off for a little bit too, I guess, on this one. Um,
Ooh.
so this is a kalimba,
Yeah.
and
Very cool.
so yeah, there's this musician we listen to that um, plays all kinds of instruments, but this is one that we hadn't really heard of, and there's some Nordic
Oh yeah, there
stuff
we go.
back. Yeah. So hopefully
Cool.
it didn't wreck anyone's ears. Turn the noise cancellation back on. Hopefully that
You're
works
gonna
out.
have to just for fun one time, like write us a different opening using only those two instruments
Yeah,
to
just
see what you
screaming.
come up with.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's okay. I'll
Some
give you some time to think about it.
yeah.
It's not like those two naturally go together, but
Mhm.
dang, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. So it was cool anyways, and I had like just happened to write something about control on Twitter, and
Right.
this guy that I actually saw, learned about these from, liked it or whatever.
Oh,
So I
cool.
realized, oh, that's him. Okay. And so I kind of thanked him for having introduced me to this device.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then anyways, things stuff we've done. We hung out and played board games, our
Mhm.
favorite DC game quite a bit. She had pizza ordered in from New York.
Cool.
Eat. And then we went to Wild Wings with my parents, and then I think something with her parents this weekend, but I don't know for sure. She
Okay.
has stuff in the calendar,
Sure.
uh, but I was originally, figured I'd be working if the weather was nicer,
Sure.
so we kind of had planned stuff, like, or she did for the weekend.
Mhm.
So yeah,
So the
yes, made
snow
breakfast.
also affected you then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been cold, and then a bit of the rain, and yeah, and then
Mhm.
extra snow. It's not
Not
worth.
ideal.
No. So, but yeah, yeah, and then the breakfast that she made for me, which was a Japanese style breakfast, just
Cool.
corn cakes and miso soup. So very good.
Nice. It kind of sounds like you've got a whole like birthday month almost going on here.
Yeah.
Rolling
Yeah,
along
like I say,
between gifts and
yeah, we have to do like a birthday week, it ends up getting spread out, sometimes you don't always get to do an event with everybody or something like that. And so
yep.
things broken up and yeah, gifts arrive at different times. So yeah,
Well, very
good
fun.
stuff. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, anything else or just you've had busy baby making cake and
Yep. Going to the
or-
batting cages. That was like kind of the only thing I've done outside of, like going outside my house, not for doctor's appointments or dentist appointments or going grocery shopping. It was like the only thing I've done that's, totally for pleasure and not didn't have any utilitarian purpose. So it
how
was
was
nice.
how was the batting cages like did you show Chris who's boss?
More like the bat showed me who's boss. I have not swung a bat in a long time, and it clearly showed because my arms were so tired afterwards, and I had like arthritis grip, like my hand clawed up because I was gripping the bat so hard. So I came home and it was still kind of like in this shape, and I was like, my God, my 30 or 80, like. But it was fun. It was I'd never really been to like indoor batting cages
Yeah.
before. Um and it was kind of like old school. You like bought tokens and you like put them in the slot and then like the pitching machine started and they had a couple different cages and you just like rotated turns with people who were there. So you like stood in a line and then went to the back of the line until it was your turn to
Mhm.
go again. Um, so it was fun. It was very busy. There were a lot of people there, which I was not anticipating on like a
I want
random
to get
Sunday.
outside too. Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, it was pretty popular, so it was fun. Chris enjoyed it. At least I hope he did anyway. So, and I had fun.
Nice. Yeah, I remember the first time I picked up a bat in a while. I had been just golfing, and so I
Oh.
grabbed it like a golf club, just golf with, you know, overlap the
Yeah,
finger.
Chris occasionally has that problem when he plays softball in the spring. Like he'll go golfing one day and then like we'll have a game at
Mhm.
night and he picks up a bat and he's like, what am I even doing? Like how do it takes him a minute
Yeah.
to remember how to hold it.
Yep.
So it's pretty
Yep.
funny.
Um. Well, that's our weeks. I will say. Oh yeah, I had D&D. Um.
Yeah.
And so I made bread, made my sourdough for that event.
Mm-hmm.
I think it turned out pretty well. And one of the people playing D&D with us did indeed also back up your statement that making bread, and particularly sourdough, was like the thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
whatever, whatever.
It's okay.
Mine's
Well, you're not doing it at like the height of its popularity, so you're different. You're still unique.
that's what I need. Um, so yeah, that was good. And Ashley made a bunch of other stuff. She made a chili and stuff. So yeah, that's good.
Nice.
We basically had like a 5-hour singular battle in
Holy
D&D.
cow.
It was, yeah, it was a big one. So, and then I have these new headphones.
Yes.
A
Looking
true
very old
YouTube
school.
would have done an unboxing, I suppose, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them yet, just because they're so expensive. But they
Okay.
do sound really good.
Were they
They're
also a birthday present or just something you wanted for yourself?
yeah, birthday present to myself, I guess.
Hey,
Technically,
treat
I
yourself.
yeah.
If I've learned
Well,
anything.
I don't know if I'd need to treat myself this much. I don't know, but
What kind of headphones are they?
Bang& Olufsen and the
Oh,
Bang&
wow.
Olufsen Play Portal
Okay.
headphones, and so they did a limited, doing limited like in partnership with Xbox
Mm-hmm.
line of accessories. So Microsoft is partnering with different vendors to do whatever. So these natively connect with lossless audio to an Xbox.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the kind of thing. There's a button on it that separates it from the other versions of this headset. And then you can open the app on your phone and control how much it noise cancels or what, um, how you want to adjust your sound settings and all that kind of thing. And then in game, it's nice because you can adjust it between louder voice chat or louder
Hmm.
game sounds on
Wow.
it. So yeah, they're nice. They're pretty comfortable.
Mhm.
They I think are pretty nice looking and they sound very good. I was comparing between like 5 different headphones last night, back and
Okay.
forth, switching the plug back and forth and listening to the same song over and over. So
So did
fun.
you were you comparing your own headphones or were you
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I've
Where
got
did
it
the
right there.
where did these come out in the ranking?
Oh, these are the best.
Okay. All right.
But my other ones, I have AKGs that were only like $50
Mhm.
and they sound really good, particularly for the money. They
Mhm.
and they're more comfortable than these.
Okay.
So like they
Yeah,
definitely work longer.
it's funny how that works sometimes. Like, you can buy these like amazing products and suddenly something for like, 20, 40, $50 and you're just like, wow.
Mhm.
These are cheap, but somebody somehow got some quality in there.
Yep. But the spatial placement of
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
for a game is very good here. And really the only difference sound wise when listening to music between the AKGs and this just does have a richer bass to it. It's like as you go up in quality, everything just feels more full for
Yes.
the
Mhm.
and so these just feel a little more full than them. Um, Part of that could be due to these being closed back and the other ones being like semi open back. So
Sure.
I don't know. I've got a couple days. I got a few days yet to decide. So I figured I'd put them through their paces.
Sure, sure. Well, if you don't like them, I mean, we could go trade these. I don't know.
I'm sure I got like a dozen of those lying around somewhere.
Why are
Add
you
to the next
laughing,
tally.
John?
Yeah. Yep. All right. Drinks. Drink anything fun today?
Indeed, I am drinking today. It is Wednesday, so for me, it is Wine Wednesday. I've got a Malbec here, something new to
Oh,
try, in
okay.
honor of the upcoming World Malbec Day on
Nice.
April 17th. So that's upcoming, and then last Friday was G&T Day, little
Okay.
classic gin and tonic, which we talked about, I think, last episode a little bit. So
Yeah.
very different, but two also of my favorite drinks. I am a wine drinker in kind of general, and then gin and tonic is one of my favorite cocktails. So good week.
Have you had or experimented with the idea that of like all natural wines
Hmm.
giving you a lesser of a headache? Do you find that true?
Um, haven't tried enough to say for certain either way. But certainly the one that I did try, I woke up and felt fantastic. But I've also woke up and felt fantastic after just normal wine too. So,
Yeah, for me, it's not so much like after I sleep or anything like that. It's just literally, an hour or so
oh
after
really?
having a glass or two of usually a red wine.
Okay.
It's just really common for me to have a headache, and it's kind of unpleasant.
Sure. It's honestly for me, if I wake up with a wine, it's if I get a wine headache, it's one I wake up with. It's not one I
Okay.
have that night.
Okay.
Um, because for me it always takes like a little bit of time between, and yeah, unless I've been, drinking wine like early in the day and then I pause in the afternoon and then it hits me in the evening, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
What have you
Well,
got for us?
yeah,
Speaking of
nothing
drinking.
super exciting. I have a Juaritos pineapple Mexican
Ah,
soda.
fun.
Maybe, well, it doesn't need a focus. Though
There
it
it
is.
is.
So yeah, I'm pregnant now. So
Okay. So we've just switched.
yeah. But
Boy,
yeah, I don't know, it's
you'd be
just
in the news if that was the case. We'd
keeping
be
it
leading
secret.
we'd be leading the show off with that.
Yeah, hey, that's what our podcast needs.
That's
Something like
right.
that, right?
That'd be a pretty big draw, I think. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people would flock to this podcast to find out the experiences and the trials of a first pregnant guy ever.
Yep. I'd have to like keep gaining weight so I can show off my belly,
That's right.
but it had to be a beer belly, so it just really is
Yeah.
convincing. It's just the belly.
I was gonna say it'd have to be very specific if you could just
Yeah.
direct all of your weight.
Mhm. Yeah, if I could just do that, I think I'd put it in my feet or something. I don't know.
Yeah, certainly not your waist. Certainly
Yeah.
not your stomach.
Yep. Um, I see that you didn't mention, but you had it in the list. And while we're talking about like weights and waistline, it triggered that for me, I guess, is
Okay.
watching early Real Housewives of New York.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so, I mean, to test our audience and see if they can stick around for the to news here, how is Real Housewives of New York and Housewives
It's
stuff?
it's been fun. So I've watched it because, when I'm taking care of the baby, I can't always watch things that I can focus on, but I like to have some background noise and um gotta get her in that Real Housewives club real early. So,
Yeah.
introduce her to the finer things in life.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so I turned on New York because of course this year I watched that franchise for the first time, season 12. Um or season 12. Um so I just thought like, oh, like why not go back and kind of, take a look at, the early years and see if I still, find it compelling or if it could shed some light on, me watching this year. And I have to say I love it because the production quality early on is so awful. It's so
Not great.
90s and
Mhm.
terrible. And they have all these like little text cards on the screen. Um God, the style of the housewives is so 90s and terrible. There's animal print everywhere. Um, and they've got like, like the classic 90s 2000 trends of like showing your bra straps or like, the low rise jeans or wearing jeans with heels and like these tight fitting tank tops and stuff. It's, oh God, it's hilarious in a way that I know the show doesn't mean to be, but of course, like
Right.
looking back on it from this time period, it's great.
Well, and is it interesting, like when they started, or all the older ones, anyways, it was
Mhm.
a like a conceit about it because you'd
Yeah.
have, I'm sure the proposal was, hey, we want to find well-to-do, wealthy housewives in certain areas, and so then often the shows they begin and they're all like, look at all the things I have. Here are
Yes.
my many pools, and it's very like on the nose. Here's my
Yes.
wealth kind of thing.
Yes.
And I feel like as things moved on, it's just more of a, let's just see your life a little bit. And
Yeah.
obviously that comes with seeing how much wealth you have or whatever, but it's just less like on
Yeah.
a platter kind
It's
of
more
thing.
background. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
more like they show the things, but they don't like look at my $16,000 bag that,
Mhm.
so and so got for my birthday.
And if a housewife does that now, it kind of stands out and sometimes they get called
Yes.
out for it.
Yes,
So,
whereas like I noticed in the first season in particular of New York, um, the housewives would bring something on screen or they'd get into a car or they'd, go into their home and like a little note card would pop up and be like, rent of a townhouse of this size is like $2 million a year,
mhm.
or like this car retails for $55,000. And I was like,
That must
wow.
be like an added, like a added thing, right? I mean,
I
like
have
now
no
you can,
idea.
huh? I
I have
wonder if
no
that
idea
was in the
because
original.
obviously, yeah, I obviously, never watched it, air live, so I would have no
Yeah.
clue. But yeah, I don't know if Hulu did that or Bravo decided to go back and do that or if that was indeed the original part. Because like I said, it just happened in the first season. But I
Yeah.
remember watching that going, yikes, this is like really crass for
Yeah.
something that's, supposedly following these elegant, refined women. It's like, nope. Let me
Yeah.
just, break it down how much their life costs.
Hmm.
So it's been fun though. And I realized that the only two characters or cast members, I should say, that are original that are still around are Ramona and Luann. And it was fun to go back and watch Ramona to realize, like, nope, I pretty much have always not liked Ramona. That's okay. Like, it's not just a season 12 thing. She didn't develop this way. This is Ramona. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm usually I usually come down on the other side of things from wherever she is. She's just very self-absorbed,
she's a lot.
and it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
She has some fun moments and, some like
Oh yeah.
ridiculous things and whatnot. And, I can tolerate her sometimes, but yeah, it's just good to see, from season 1 on. I mean, she's
Hmm.
she's just her.
Yeah. I think in there, I, Luann is always back and forth, but
Yes.
sometimes like Luann sober now is
Yes.
pretty good. I
Mhm.
like Luann. Um, so for the most part, like she has her breakdowns once in a while or something, but she's pretty good.
Yeah,
And I
everybody's
miss
everybody's got their
Bethany.
moments. Oh, I
Yeah.
do too. I already miss her. I'm
Yeah.
like barely past her, and I really enjoyed her. So, I know she comes back for a middle stretch of seasons that I'm looking forward to her return because
Mm,
she's fun. She's just very no nonsense, and I get
hmm.
her. So,
Yep. Yep. Well, I look forward to the new season. We'll see how it
yes.
goes.
Yes.
Um, so yeah.
Another new housewife cuz
Yep. Because
couple left the show.
Teddy and
That's that's
on girl.
uh that's Beverly Hills.
Oh yeah.
Dorinda left the show, and somebody
Oh,
else, which I'm very sad about. I like Dorinda. I mean, she
well,
got a little
Tinsley's
much.
gone.
Tinsley, yes.
Yeah.
Um, Although I think she has already broken up with Scott in
Yes.
Chicago, so we'll see if she makes her way
Yes.
back.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have bet and
Oh
won lots
God,
of money on that. Yeah.
who couldn't? I mean, I've watched the show for exactly one season, and I could have predicted that. So,
Yeah.
poor girl.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I guess that's good with Dorinda. I didn't even realize that. I saw the promo picture the other day or something of the cast, but I didn't
Mhm.
even connect that she was gone. But
Mhm.
yeah, she needs some time off, I think, for
Yeah,
sure.
I like her, but she needed a beat. She got a little intense. She got a little angry.
Yep.
So,
Well, speaking of intense and angry,
yeah,
new movie coming up, right?
that's right. Coming up in June 25th, I believe. So not too far away. Um, we got a new trailer drop today for The Fast and the Furious 9. And we got a little bit of information about it, that this apparently is going to be the first in what director Justin Lin is calling a trilogy, to end the series. So 9, 10, and 11 are going to be, I believe there's going to be some sort of through storyline that connects the three, just more than like simply being part of the franchise. Um, so this is going to be what Justin Lin calls his concluding trilogy for the series. It was originally supposed to end after 10, and Lin convinced producers to give him one more, which normally I would be happy about because you know me, I love the Fast and Furious franchise. I love the characters, I love the people, love The Rock, even though he's not in this one. Um, but I watched the trailer and I watched it with that sense of, when you love something a lot and then suddenly it turns and it disappoints you in some way, and
Hmm.
you get to the point where you're like, "Oh no, like I think I might hate this now." And that's kind of where I am. And I'm really disappointed about it because Fast and Furious has I mean, in kind of its second half of its series, it's been ridiculous. Like
Right.
the first couple of films were, you know, a lot, but they were believable. They were about street racing and, like this group of
Yeah.
people, just stealing audio equipment. Sure, this is believable. And then in, the second half of the franchise, they're going up against like CIA agents. They're taking down airplanes and tanks and jumping across bridges, and it's ridiculous. But
Yep.
this finally might be too far for me. um Not only are they putting cars, uh they're having cars be part of airplanes and like drive up to airplanes and connect to them. They're doing this sort of like hybrid space car vehicle thing that Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson's characters are flying around in. But now they're also doing one of the things that I despise the most in any sort of media, which is introducing a new character and shoehorning them in as if they were always there. So
Okay.
so to get a teeny bit spoilery, although not really because the trailer introduces this right away, John Cena's character is going to be joining the cast as um uh Dominic Toretto's brother, Vin Diesel's brother. And
Mm.
it's like I'm sorry, he's now the brother of, two of the main characters, and we've never heard about him before. They've never referenced having another brother. They've never talked about why their brother is missing or why they never talk about it. Nobody's asked about this. And I hate that kind of stuff. When they try to introduce a new character and give them like emotional depth by connecting them to one of the main characters, but you're like, no, because we've never heard about this character before. And it's not like they just, got sent away at the age of 2. They would have
Right.
grown up at least a little bit with them. So yeah, I'm highly disappointed in this whole like, Vin Diesel has a brother storyline, because it undermines his whole concept, which, um, the core of his character is about family. And suddenly
Oh yeah.
he's got a brother he's never spoken to, or he's cut off somehow. He made his sister not talk to his other brother. Like that just that doesn't even seem realistic for me. And I call it in my notes, I called it the Buffy effect, because it's very related to one of my favorite shows, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where suddenly in the 5th season they introduce the fact that she has had a sister, and we're like, as the viewers, you're left going, wait, what? There's a sister, and it sort of gets revealed later on that this is like a fake thing. It's a plant, but we have to go
Spoilers
through.
for Buffy.
I know.
Oh my
Spoilers for
gosh.
the 2000s, the year 2000s. Um, but yeah, so but it takes us a whole season to get to the fact that Buffy's sister is a fake. So you have to live a whole season of being like, why is this character suddenly shoehorned in
Mhm.
here? And it made her one of the most hated characters. Um, I think like Entertainment Weekly did a poll one time of the most hated TV characters of all time, and she was either number 1 or number 2
Wow.
because of that reason. And now I'm hating to see another one of my favorite franchises go through this and do this kind of thing.
Uh,
So that's my rant. Normally it's you, John. I'm taking it over for the day because I
no,
just I just can't
fine.
stand it.
I watched the trailer that you
Yeah.
posted there. It
Yeah.
looks crazy. Um, I didn't know that Cena wasn't in there before.
Yeah, he's never
Um,
been in there.
I was saying in this picture though, he looks a little like everybody looking a little funny in this picture.
Yeah, John Cena, I was thinking about this as I was looking at him. He looks like a weird cross between like the human version of the Grinch and a version of himself that's like 10 years older than he actually is.
Yeah, because I've seen him in some commercials and he's looking real good, and then here is just like really
Wrinkled.
trying to get all the wrinkles going on his face that he
Yeah.
can.
Got some under eye circles, got some sharp angles to his face. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's not working. But
And
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed. I'm
Well,
a little Ron Perlman too. Yes. Yes.
hmm.
And unfortunately I don't mean that in a good way.
Well, maybe it'll still blow your socks off. Maybe it'll still be awesome.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to see it because
Right.
I am, but I may sit through it and just hate it the entire way.
Mm.
I
I
may
just
have
can't
to
believe
hate
there's so many of
watch.
these. Like, they might as well just make it like James Bond films at this
I
point.
know.
Like, just keep going forever.
Well, and it's hilarious to me to think like they were ready to end after 10 of them and Justin Lin was like, "No, no, 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 no. I need to conclude with a
I need one
trilogy.
more.
I need one more." And some studio exec was like, "Sure. Green light that."
I mean, they all make money, don't they? I mean, I think
They
that
do.
like there was a slump early on, huh? But the last few I think have done pretty well.
Yeah, 2 and 3 did pretty terribly, and then,
Yeah, two in Tokyo Drift, was that 3 or something?
yes, yes, and then they got the original cast back for number 4, and that did fairly well, and then it was really picking up with number 5. 5 was kind of like the relaunch, where
Yeah.
everybody was just like, "Oh, that's so good again."
Mhm.
So,
Crazy stuff.
yep.
Well, if you're a viewer and you share Andrea's passion for Fast and the Furious franchise, let her
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, maybe you watched the trailer and you were like, "I'm in love with everything." Yay for John Cena joining the cast. Yay for Helen Mirren joining the cast, which I am actually yay for. She might be the only redeeming quality in this movie, but
Is Charlize Theron in the other ones?
she's in the previous one, and it looks like she's in this briefly again as well.
Okay.
So now these kind of feel a little bit like just vehicles for very
Yeah.
random cameos. How many celebrities can we just like pack in here,
When I
and
was watching
give
it,
them random stuff to do?
one scene just stood out. I'm like, oh, okay, how tall of a box did they get Vin Diesel to stand on when he's
Oh,
right next to John Cena?
yep.
'Cause no way those two people are the same height.
Agreed.
So, all right. You got another story here now that's not well, kind of switching into gaming mode here now
Yeah.
for a bit.
Mhm.
Um, what's this all about?
Yeah, Oculus is going to have a little gaming showcase next Wednesday, April 21st. If there are any VR gaming fans out there, they're working on developing several new games and so several currently existing games for VR. So they're going to do like a cute little preview of the work that they've been doing and let us know a little bit more about some of the releases that are going on there. So I have never done any VR gaming, but I really want to. I want to check it out. I want to try it because it
What
looks
about
fun.
VR? Like no VR experiences though.
I've had like one like they used to do some of like the VR stuff at Mall of America.
Hmm.
And I've done like some of those, but I've never done like a game, and I think it would be fun. So
Yeah.
this just got me excited for it because there's just like some brand new stuff and games I'd actually be interested in playing, like the latest Star Wars game. So I was just like, oh, I'd be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I'll try to watch it to see what's coming down the pipeline and hope that it
Mhm.
all comes to something other than Oculus. Like I'm so upset that and this is what I can see when people get upset when one company absorbs another one if
Mhm.
they hate the parent company, and
Right.
I get it because I hate Facebook and they own Oculus, so
Yep, they do.
I'm I'm not going there. But so far, there's lots of games. Sometimes they come out for Oculus, and then they eventually move to other platforms as well.
Right.
So the thing about Oculus is they have their Quest headsets that are really quite nice because they're
Mhm.
all in one wireless headsets. And then if you need to play something that's more demanding, you can plug them into your computer yet too.
Right.
So it's a nice setup. Um, yeah. Well, you have to try our VR sometime. It's
Yes. I would love to do that.
it's outdated at this point, but still it still is fun for the right experiences.
For
And
sure.
yeah, we've thought a couple times about getting a higher end one for the computer so we could play Half-Life, but we just don't have as much room when where the computer is and stuff as the living room. And in all honesty, like the PlayStation has gotten some pretty good exclusives.
Sure.
So we've been pretty happy with that. But yeah. Yeah, there's a Mist game coming. They're redoing Mist, I think, for Oculus. So I'm hoping
Yes,
that
they
comes
are.
to other things later. And is there a different Star Wars game you're talking about, or is it the Vader Immortal stuff yet?
No, I think it's a different one. Let's see.
Because I have a friend that's
Look it
playing the
up.
Vader one on his Oculus and loves it a lot. He plays it with his son, thinks it's a blast, and I might get that on PlayStation when it goes on sale sometime.
Let's see.
But I guess it's a good workout at times, lightsaber battling, and throwing grenades, and all that kind of thing. And then
I'm
of
just
course,
quick looking this up. Let's
sure.
see.
And then of course, Apple's rumored to have their own AR, VR headset, some sort of combo thing coming before too long. So we might have another expensive contender there.
So you've got Tales from the Galaxy's Edge.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, April 21st. See how it
Yes,
goes.
indeed. 1 week from now. They said they've got a few surprises yet in store. So I don't really know. I don't really know what that means. That could mean anything, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
for sure. I also wanted to talk about Apple Arcade a little bit. We haven't talked about that in quite some time,
Yeah.
and I haven't been seeing much about it in the press or anything like that. But I'm always very interested in the topic of like the gaming space breakdown, like market share and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I get stuck in my bubble of, you know, gaming, having the systems, playing stuff on PC, all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, and it, half of the market, half the gaming market is in the mobile space,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
the other, I think it was last week, Apple kind of did a new big PR push
They
and
did.
said they now have 180 plus games available on Apple Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the headlining ones, including Fantasian, from the creator of Final Fantasy,
Yep.
and has the composer Nobu Uematsu from the Final Fantasy series as well. So, like, big names, big talent.
Right.
They've redone Oregon Trail.
So excited about that.
Into that yet?
Absolutely, I am.
I started it and was like, I actually am bored by this. I don't care anymore.
Stop it.
But maybe I don't
That's
know.
classic childhood right
I
there.
know.
You don't want to shoot and not be able to carry 200 pounds of bison or
But you know
ford a
what?
river and have somebody drown or die of dysentery on the other side.
But it's because we were in school and it was better than the alternative.
True.
Oh, you
We
want
had,
to
we
sit
had
on
very
the
limited
old Apple?
options.
Yeah. Right. So
Do you want to play Math Munchers or do you want to play Oregon Trail?
Math Munchers?
Do you
I
not
don't
remember
know.
this?
Well, it's Math
Like
Blasters. I know of that one.
Oh, I know Math Blasters, but we also had Math Munchers, which was like a little frog that ate
Okay.
tadpoles, and you had to, eat
Hmm.
the right ones to add up to whatever. But yeah, Number
Number
Munchers.
munchers.
That was
Yes.
it. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Let's
Math
make
Munchers.
math munchers right now.
Yeah, I know, right? I just
Trademark.
made a new game. Thank you.
Um, and then World of Demons is a new one by Platinum Games. And
Hmm.
Platinum Games, they're big time. They've made Astral Chain and Bayonetta and stuff. And that's got a very Japanese woodblock print kind of style. Looks like the old Okami game.
Hmm.
And then there's also a series of Apple Arcade Plus versions of games.
Sure.
So I was talking to some friends, Alan included in there and stuff, and we're talking about mobile gaming a little bit. And I'm just kind of always a defender of this space a little bit because it gets a bad rap from the way it started out. When
Hmm.
things got started, and honestly, when you see Super Bowl commercials or something, it's for like um, Clash of Clans or something like that.
Oh
It's just
yeah.
a means to steal your money,
Right.
like that's
Well,
what
and
it is. And
it's like the same three games. Like I cannot tell you how many times I feel like I've seen that particular game advertised.
yep,
Or the world building one. God, it's
Second
like
Empire
you
thing.
yeah, yeah. The one where they like build throughout the ages or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like
Yep.
the caveman and then they go and
Right.
they're suddenly in the yeah. It's like the same games. Like show me something different.
I mean, and there are games that I never think about, I never
Mhm.
see other than those commercials, but they're huge. They make tons of money.
Mhm.
It's a big deal, but it gives for gamers, it gives mobile gaming a bad rap because
Yes.
look, a lot of what keeps the market afloat there is this kind of junk. And if you like those games, it's fine, but they are definitely money sucks. They
Mhm.
just like money vortexes. That's what they're designed to be. And
Absolutely.
I think that the efforts like Apple Arcade and are, the idea here is these games don't have microtransactions. They're
Mhm.
not full of ads. You pay your one lump sum, and you get a whole bunch of games that are quality. And I think this is only good because it's good potentially gets some people that the only device they have for gaming is their phone. And
Right.
if they try something on there and they see there's something else a little more they might be interested in, that's the thing that makes them like, now hook up a controller and play something more serious, or they get a Nintendo Switch, or maybe they subscribe to Game Pass, or they do something else that gets them into the world of gaming. And
Right.
I mean, I hope that's happening. I don't have, data behind that or anything like that, but yeah, I just think that there's a growing, real, positive, impressive selection of real games. I get this from my friend Tony all the time, mocking a mobile. It's like, dude, there are a lot of good games on there. If you,
Mhm.
and um, I don't know, I don't want to play on a phone. I want to play on my big TV, but
Right.
if that's what you got, that's what you got. So,
That's right. If your
yeah,
phone is all you've got, maybe it's the Oregon Trail of games. It's the best option you've got at the time.
yep, yep. Well, it's the one thing that's ubiquitous. There's a
Yes.
lot of gamers out there that don't consider themselves gamers because they just play some stuff on their phone, like, and
Hmm.
that's fine. And an important market. And if we can make the games that those people play better,
Right. They
then that's
can
good.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, Apple Arcade. I thought about not having it before, but with our bundle, it's just like it's just it's we're literally paying nothing to have it.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Nintendo had their an
Yes.
Indie World event today.
Hmm.
And not a lot that looked great for me. Um, but a couple things up on the screen now is from Chris Tales, and I thought the art was really cool. It's kind
Hmm.
of reminiscent of a Kill la Kill. And yeah, they had a new trailer for the new Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. That was
Yes,
the highlight for me.
obviously.
Hmm. And then they did have at the end they revealed Oxenfree 2, which I've not played. I do have, but I haven't played it, and people love it. So
Okay.
I know people will be excited for that.
I have not heard of that. What is that?
It's a very narrative driven game. It's like side scroller kind of thing that you chat with some other people in the game, and I think there's a mystery to solve in there or whatever, but it's very story driven. There's not a lot of
Okay.
gameplay per se, as far as I know. Um, but they're a talented group of people. They did a game um, about like trying to get out of hell. What's it? After Party. We got that for Terra
Ah,
once to try.
okay.
It's cool and stylish. So, um, Alan says there's an ARG element to it. I'm not real gamer enough to know what ARG is. Um, Augmented reality game. That's what I would make up for that. Um, alternate reality
Alternate. Oh,
game.
you were so close.
I know.
I was gonna say I would have bought it, but okay.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. Um, so there's a story that may be altered by players' ideas or oh, yes.
Oh, okay,
Okay, so
sure.
there's a little bit of multiple endings potentially and
Yeah,
that kind of
choose your own
yeah,
adventure
yeah.
almost. Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So yeah. And then a game that I don't think I will play, but it was seemed really interesting to me called The Longing. And
Mhm.
your goal is you have to wait for like someone to return or something in 400 days time. And the 400 days is real time.
Mhm.
So it just is that like you can't you'd have I suppose you can just let the game sit, but then literally it's like how are you going to spend your time is what they introduce, and the hand drawn art style or whatever is really cool looking for sure. So I don't know, it's a
Yeah.
unique different thing. Um, so I'll be interested. I think it's out now. I think that was one of the things they're like, oh, it'll be out after the show or whatever. So I'll be interested to see what people think of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's about it. Everybody's still waiting for Silk Song to get some details and never shows up. So someday.
Keep waiting.
Yep. All right, that's the gaming stuff. The news out of the way. We're gonna get spoilery now with an
Yes.
anime show for purists called Promised Neverland.
Mhm.
Um, we had seen season 1 last year, I believe it was, and absolutely loved it.
Yes.
And now season 2 is out, and we have watched that. So, yeah, spoilers for season 2 of Promised Neverland. What'd
Yes.
you think?
Oh boy. There's
Oh,
this season was a lot. And unfortunately, I think this is going to be my part of the episode where your words from before are going to
oh
apply,
no.
John. Season 2, I did not like. On the whole, if I had to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I would have to
Okay.
give it a thumbs down. There were elements that I liked. There were
Okay.
pieces that had potential, but I think overall, if you're talking in terms of a singular season, it didn't deliver for me. And especially if you're comparing to season 1, but even without doing that, even without, comparing to the excellence of the first season, I think season 2 really fell down, and it really fell down in the last 2 episodes that just had almost no real storytelling to them. They just moved so quickly. Season 2, episode 11, the finale, which has been confirmed is the series finale as well as the season finale, was basically a glorified slideshow. I mean, like the entire second half of that episode was just flashing through pictures and like a random voiceover narration being like, and then these million trillion things happened. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there was no um natural evolution, I think, to the storyline, and there was no like natural conclusion. It was very like shoehorned in, very quick. Just let me give you like a brief overview of all these things that magically worked out. Oh, and here's like a final happy ending shot. Yay for us, and curtain.
Yeah.
And I just was so highly disappointed because I know the season took a while to ramp up, but then these middle episodes got really good, and I was really excited for all these kind of like philosophical questions that we were exploring, and these, kind of very like existential questions of, you know, I mean, human existence and how far are you willing to go to protect your right to exist, and
Mhm.
you know, um, how do you see people who are different from you, who are also, kind of fighting for their own right to exist. It was just getting really interesting, and then suddenly they were just like, "Oh, we're done." So,
Yeah. I wonder if that's. I want to go back to the manga now. Um,
mhm,
I think that's probably what I'll do because
yeah,
very early on in season 2, we saw it deviate from the manga quickly,
yes,
and so I wonder, because you're right, it started slowish, but at what you would maybe expect for a pace, and then it introduced interesting ideas, and then it's like the people making the show were told they had to work on something else.
yeah,
And it's like, well, you need to have something, and it's like, okay, well, and then they just summarized it for someone quick,
yep,
and then so they just like squeeze that into 3 episodes or something.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
because
and an interesting note, just to briefly interject, episodes 10 and 11, the final two episodes, have no credited writer for
yes,
either episode, which I
strange.
think says a lot.
Hmm.
But
I just would like
continue.
to know what went on there, because clearly, in that slideshow and different stuff, there's a lot that we could see. Like Ashley kept holding out hope, like maybe they're just kind of
Agree.
going over this stuff, and then we're gonna come it back in another season and see it in detail.
Mhm.
But then when it like very wrapped up at the end, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's done.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but like you, I would be interested to know because I mean, the manga was so good. The first season of the anime was so good. Like everybody was talking about it. Everybody was so, invested in the excellence of the first season and looking forward to the second season. And this really could have been something. This really could have been a great show. Um, that they could just continue to build on and grow into, like a show with a real following, or grow into a bigger show, a multi-season show. And
Yep.
it's like they just quit. They were just like too nervous about living up to expectations, so they were like, it almost felt like they were deliberately screwing things up so that they wouldn't have to, you know try too hard. It just, I don't know, it's like
Well,
it felt like almost deliberately tanked. It was very
yeah.
disappointing to me.
I have to imagine there's something else behind the scenes
Sure.
that was restricted this way. Like sometimes we get that where like it, you get an anime where you don't even know if you're going to get another season, so then it just ends and you don't
Mhm.
get you don't get another season for some
Right.
reason. Um, but besides pacing and stuff, I also had some issues with the content of the story too.
Yeah.
One inconsistency I saw was early on. One of the demons, here he's in the picture right now, that's with
Mhm.
Mujika here. He um, reveals to her that he's excited to be able to hunt humans
Yes.
wild again. Like
Yes.
he is all about. It's not about
Totally.
not eating humans. It's that it's wrong that we lock them up,
It's wrong that
we
we
just,
farm them.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, no, you should, work for it and enjoy the hunt,
Mm-hmm.
like a
Yeah.
predator or something. Well,
Yeah.
then that seemed to completely go away.
Yes.
Never talked again. So that was an ominous thing that wasn't there
Yep.
later. And then I think they wasted an opportunity with Norman to like just
Mm-hmm.
basically bring him back in the fold again, because with the way that he pushed and acted when they were gone, it was like, we're just going to do this and get it out of the way. And so because that's a dramatic moment, they're gone.
Absolutely.
The explosion, they can see it from a distance. That's a betrayal, like a real one. And for them to come back and for Emma to be, I understand she's the like bleeding heart, always optimistic and understanding one kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. I think it was too far. I think we
Yes.
wasted opportunity to see the fall of Norman, and for him
Yes.
to like be redeemed and come back so quickly, I
Yes.
think was a waste. It would be way more interesting that basically you had the kids and Ray and Emma with Mujika and her friend, knowing that he still kind of wants to hunt humans,
Mm-hmm.
and but they're going to work together to get rid of the shackles that they're being held down by, where they're
Right.
restricted access to food,
Right.
whilst they have humans that they're against too. So the main group is against both Norman and the enhanced kids that he's with,
Yep.
and the powers that be that want to kill the people with the bad blood or evil blood or whatever.
Oh
you know
yeah, the blood where like demons don't have to eat humans.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It would be very chaotic, very interesting. It'd be
Yes.
a lot of tension there. And instead
Mm-hmm.
they come back, he's holding the knife over the kid and like, "Oh, we're not going to let you shoulder this anymore.
Yep.
Like by yourself." Like, what? Where are you getting this? This guy just
Yeah.
shanked you in the back. He's understandably, because him and his friends have been tortured, are ready
Right.
to kill them all.
Right.
But you, having a little more perspective yet on this now, can see that they're not all inherently bad. Like,
Right.
um I just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
like a
completely
cop out.
agree with you. I agree. It was a total cop out. It was yeah, Norman gave up on this whole like revenge plan way too quickly because I got everything that led up to that moment. Obviously, like you said, Norman and his newer friends were experimented on. They're looking for revenge. They're looking to, never be that vulnerable again, and this drives them to try and wipe out all the demons. Obviously, Emma hasn't had that experience. She's only, I mean, she's obviously met terrible demons, but she's also met nice ones. So she's like,
Right.
oh, we can't, they're individuals. We can't just wipe them all out.
Yep.
Um, and there's another solution over here. So I get that conflict and I get that tension, but you're right. It just that whole storyline folded way too quickly. Like
Yeah.
Norman was suddenly like, you're right. I'm just a scared little boy, and I really want you to, just be with me. That's all I really want. And you were like, no, that's not.
Yep.
And even if Norman changed his mind to, be reunited with his friends, his group that he had built up and this group of other survivors of this facility would not also have these emotional connections to Emma and Ray and say like, "Oh, okay, we're just going to follow your lead
Yeah.
too." They'd still be in this other mindset of revenge. So
Yep.
their turn felt even more unbelievable.
Yep.
But then it also felt unbelievable um in this same episode, the demons that Norman attacks but ultimately can't kill also say, like, oh, we feel pity for you, and I know you just tried to attack me and kill my granddaughter, but we're just going to suddenly work with you to
Yeah.
create
Hmm.
peace and harmony. And you were just like, boy, that's convenient that you apparently attacked the only understanding demons
Hmm.
in this entire world that are
They're
just
used
like,
to eating you
right.
just a
Forget
moment
our
ago.
past differences.
Yeah.
We're gonna work together and build a new, peaceful empire. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Where there was a real like deft hand and maturity to the first season. I
Hmm.
think that it lost a lot of that here, for
Yes.
like some
Yes.
sort of naive youthful optimism kind of thing.
Very, yes, it felt very simplistic.
Hmm.
It felt very like just written by somebody who does not have a lot of life experience and just assumes that everything works out. You're kind of like in these series of fortunate moments where, you know, oh, we came back in time to stop, Norman from killing the only demons who would understand and who are now going to work with us. Oh, now we went back to, Grace Field House and we met up with, the person who's the gatekeeper and found the gate and, you know, our former captor Isabella, the mom of Gracefield House, has suddenly decided to be on our side now.
Yeah.
It was just like a series of fortunate moments that
Yep.
everything worked out, and that's just not, the way that most of us experience life is not a series
Mhm.
of fortunate moments.
And
So,
I get Emma being the optimistic one,
yeah,
but
for sure.
then you get slapped down once in a while with a
Mhm.
bit of truth, and you're
Right,
like,
right.
okay, you gotta wake up a little to this here. Like you want to have the important thing is you never let that hope in humanity and in the goodness of the individual die,
Right.
but you do need to temper that with reality.
Mhm.
And it's whether you have the head of the human element there experimenting on the kids and stuff that she
Mhm.
just goes and offers her hand to and stuff, and of course he kills himself instead. But it's like, firstly, that feels completely wasted. We get a flashback of his story, whereas
Mhm.
that's clearly something that could have been explored throughout the season. We could have
Right.
known this person, we could have seen the interactions he had with Norman, we could have understand him to this point already, as opposed
Mhm.
to like all of a sudden at the last minute there. And then again, Emma, do you realize what this guy has done to you? I understand that,
Right.
the constraints of the system, but he's a large factor in continuing to enforce that system. And it's the
Mhm.
same with their mother. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I understand that from the little kids more, but that would be a role then that the bigger kids would be like, no, this woman was
Right.
ready, and that still
Right.
can be a thing. Like, come with us, you get to go, start new or something, but you are not our mom. You are
Right.
not our protector because you
Right.
did anything but, kind of thing. And they could have played with that, having different perspectives on it. But again, it was all just like, oh, happy, or whatever kind of thing.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything just worked out too perfectly. Emma was always able to convince everybody to see her side and do, like this optimistic, hopeful thing. And then they were
Mhm.
always rewarded with that optimistic, hopeful thing working out. When in
Yep.
reality, that's just not the case.
Yep. They
Even if
should have
you
had,
if even if you win victories, you don't win them every time.
yep. They should have had some real losses with some of the kids.
Yes.
Like, that needs to be a reality. You don't get to save everyone. Like,
Right.
you're gonna try. That's your goal. That's important. You don't give
Right.
up. But you you don't. It doesn't work that you get to save everyone. That's
Right.
not the
Or
way it is.
yeah, or like maybe make Vincent's, faux betrayal a real one.
Yeah.
Like he was a total plant and he just like went along with everything and
Yep.
maybe you make some interest to that where, not everybody falls in line and these new kids aren't, just ready to suddenly forgive demons for
Yep.
experimenting on them, you know. Or say maybe they don't get a cure, for the ailments that they have from being experimented on, like
Yep.
everything always just worked out.
Oh, we
And
just have the plans. Oh, Minerva left us the
yes.
plans to get the cure. That's perfect. I can make that. Like,
That's really great.
yeah.
Or like here's our gate to the human world, it's back at Grace Field House where we know, the layout and we can just magically get there.
That
I
would have
don't
been a traumatic thing to know that Norman couldn't save himself and
Mm-hmm.
it would lend itself to the reality of how he could be in this vengeful space,
Yes.
and that he's not ready to like give that up, and he's going to take that to in his last moments. He can maybe see his, like regret
Right.
that he and Emma and stuff, that they couldn't just be together. They could have just
Right.
left and things be happy. But it
Right.
didn't work that way, and they saw the world in a different way. Or maybe he admitted that he was like blinded by his fear of death, his untimely demise,
Yeah, because that was I felt one of the few bright moments of the show, when we learned, um, not only was Norman's um desire for revenge just for the experimentation, but it was because he was now dying
Yep.
because of it. And there was no cure, and his admission that, I just want to live, and I don't understand why it's so unfair, and I just want to, be with you guys and go back. And that was like a really emotional moment of the show, but then it didn't have any payoff because 2 minutes later we learned, oh, he can live. It's going to be
Yep.
great. It's going to be fine. So, that really dark but intense and meaningful moment for the show was completely undermined. And that's kind
Right.
of how I felt about this season. Like every meaningful moment we had was eventually undermined by this very rosy, extremely
Yep.
happy, perfect ending.
And then why would if I was in this situation, firstly, I don't know that I would go to the human world, and I
Yeah,
certainly wouldn't
sure.
send all the kids there with the mothers having no idea what they're going to find. I'm like, it could be complete post-apocalyptic wasteland. You have no idea what's over there. They
Could be
might
the
just
Hunger
send you right
Games over
back.
there. Yeah.
I figured they'd send them back and be like, this was not part of the deal. You're going to break this treaty we have, and things are
Mhm.
going to get bad. Like, get
Mhm.
back over there,
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah,
The people of the
I would have
human
been
world don't
interested.
know that, like, all that's been going on. They don't know that the gatekeeper's been murdered, you
Hmm.
know, and it's just all breaking down on the other side.
Yep. So I mean, how fortunate you come to the other side, and it's just like, oh, it's modern day, it's nice, whatever.
Right. Welcome. It's great over here.
Mm-hmm. Because it would have been, it's the heroic thing, and that really would have been something worth seeing too. Is then how they overturn the way that um, they live together
Right.
on the world that they're in,
Right.
and how they continue to spread the cure, um, and then how they can see that that still doesn't solve everything.
Mhm.
People still fight. People fight amongst themselves. There's still like, just because now they don't have to eat humans doesn't mean they don't want to eat humans.
Right.
All
Yeah.
kinds of all kinds of realistic drama that could take place in the midst of this, like, reshaping the world.
Mhm.
So they needed another couple seasons and like really flesh things out.
Yeah, they really did, and I'm not sure why this opportunity was just absolutely squandered.
Mhm.
And we're just getting this total cutoff with season 2, but that's unfortunately the reality of what we got.
Mhm.
Speaking of things not always working out, uh, this did not work out, and I'm really sad about it because the first season was so excellent, and I just really felt like this overarching story had a lot of promise, and the second season didn't deliver.
Yeah. They frankly could have. I mean, I would recommend anyone basically. And I want to see what the manga's like again yet, but I would
Yeah, for
recommend
sure.
basically anyone watch season one and just be done there,
Yeah,
because
just don't watch season 2.
yeah, there's a benefit to the hopeful unknown that you end with season one. Like, the the goal is achieved in a way,
Mhm.
knowing there's greater struggles ahead and
Right.
unknown ones, but your mind can play with that as it will then,
Mhm.
as opposed to, I like, I'm perfectly okay with that. It'd be one of those things where people would always be like, when are we going to get to know what happens next? When are we going to have the, whatever, but it doesn't have to ever come. So,
Yeah, unfortunately in this case knowing is not better.
Mhm.
I would have rather wondered about what could have been than watched this season and known what is and been disappointed by
Okay. Well, I mean, Ashton and I hadn't talked about it a whole lot. So like
it.
a lot of it came to me now or whatever, but yeah, um, it's too bad. We'll see what the manga does.
Yes. I know I've read a few things online that says, of course the manga has its own issues too, but um, the anime just cuts out so much and skips over and condenses that it's almost laughable. It's not, almost not recognizable what they've done to the storyline, which I mean, in the last couple of episodes is completely true.
Yeah.
So, gotta imagine at least the manga's better.
Right. Yep. All right. That's Promised Neverland season 2 for
Mhm.
y'all.
Yes.
Um, Shifting gears to another spoiler-filled topic, and that is Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're covering episode 3
Mhm.
this week. And then we'll probably what we were talking to doing 4 and 5 next week, and then a finale kind of wrap up the following week. So
Yeah.
hope you're watching along with us. Um, Episode 3. What'd you
Yeah.
think?
Episode 3. I really thought episode 3 improved over last week's episode 2. I was very pleased. Um, I felt like the pacing was a lot better. We were finally getting into, some more intriguing storylines. The chemistry between our lead characters, Bucky and Sam, felt better, felt more natural. Um, and I felt like the show was finally getting into some purpose. I know it's been set up in episodes 1 and 2 that we got to find out who the Flag Smashers are, what their goals are, what they're doing with the super soldier serum. But this episode really felt like, okay, we actually have to do something about that now. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Bucky and Sam finally felt like, okay, we got to go like actually and do the groundwork and do the investigation and start somewhere and get some names. Um, so I enjoyed this episode a lot more than I enjoyed episode 2 because I just felt like we were finally getting somewhere. You know, we'd
Yep.
already gotten our main characters together and now they were there. We had some purpose, we had some things for them to do. And I felt like the actors were more comfortable in this episode, you know, having more things to do.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy this
I would
episode a lot.
I would agree. I think that it had issues, but definitely the best one thus far.
Mhm. Yes.
Um, Pacing was a lot nicer and more natural. I
A lot
felt
more
like,
even, yeah.
yeah, I felt like there, like you said, there was a purpose to where things were going and how it happened. Um, I um like skipping over. Oh, I remarked it's like Temple of Doom when he had to eat a bit of snake there. That was
Yeah.
nice.
That was the most
Um,
ridiculous shot ever. Who
mhm.
orders that?
I thought that he really was pushing his luck. Sam was when it was on the phone call.
Oh
There's
god, yeah.
definitely moments where he should have hung up,
Yep.
you know, and it would have
Yeah,
been fine. Like I was like, oh, this is working. Now just like say you're gonna kill the bank and hang up.
yep. Yeah, so Sam is terrible at role playing. Sam is awful at
It's
acting.
pretty bad, yeah.
I mean from start to finish, um we're kind of jumping in the middle of the episode, but he and Bucky and Zemo go to Madripoor and he's got to play this role of this smiling tiger, which I commented bad names abound. Like first we have the Flag Smashers and like these terrible names for groups, and now we have a terrible name for the smiling tiger, apparently this criminal that goes around Madripoor. But from the second he walks on there and people are telling him to do things, he just like smiles and nods and acts so uncomfortable that I'm just not sure how anybody would ever buy, that he's this other guy, because
Sure.
he's just
Yeah.
terrible. He's terrible. He could never be like an undercover operative.
Yeah.
He just does what everybody tells him to do, or like, I mean, when they give him that shot and say it's the smiling tiger's favorite, and he just like uncomfortably is like,
Hesitates.
yeah, and then he like just goes, yes, it is my favorite,
Yep,
cheers.
thumbs up, yeah.
Oh God, it's so bad. I mean, the bartender might as well be screaming to the entire bar that this is a test,
Yeah.
of who you are and are you going to do it, and he just like, I don't know. I mean, he does it, but he's so uncomfortable the whole time. I just don't know how that
It's
bartender wouldn't be like, nope.
it's still one of those things where in a light-hearted thing, that's fun and funny
Yes.
because obviously to us, they're really discomfortable, or they're really uncomfortable and they're really odd about it. But
Yes.
in the comedy setting, it blends in for the cast and stuff, or for the characters.
Yeah, you can see his
But when
terrible, like, serious facial expression in this photo. I love it.
but when
Yes,
the show
my
around
favorite.
it is more serious, then it's harder for, you have to take that
Yeah.
still like, we know that tongue-in-cheek thing, even though it doesn't really feel like it maybe that belongs. But
Right.
I was,
It's hard because it's so high stakes, and it just
yeah.
feels like you can't mess up like that, in real life.
Hmm.
And have that work out. Whereas, like you said, in like a lighter hearted show, we could be like, tongue in cheek, like he's so uncomfortable, like look at
Yep.
him. But in this very serious, high stakes environment, it feels like he's just messing this up right now. How
Yep.
are they not onto him?
I think that like ultimately, if I have to sum it up, I have to say that it's like much it was much nicer, it was much better looking, especially from episode 2. Like I liked some shots in
Mhm.
episode 1, but there were some nice ones in this again. I liked some of the action.
Yeah.
I think my biggest issue is, do you think they would have broken out Zemo? Do you think that would be a thing that they would do?
Well, they didn't do it. Bucky sort of unilaterally
Well, okay, sure, yes.
decided.
Okay, would Bucky have done that?
Um, it's hard to say because, but I feel like out of the two, Bucky's mindset has been very hard for me to grasp um in this show so far. You know, he seems pretty unstable, despite, going to therapy and apparently making some progress there, and,
Mhm.
having his list of names and fixing things that he wants to, or making amends with people that he has wronged as the Winter Soldier. His mind is just so all over the place that part of me says yes, because I don't know how far he's willing to go to, fix what he thinks he destroyed, or people he thinks he's
Sure.
wronged. So part of me says yes, but part of me is like, would he really have thought all of that out by himself and been able to orchestrate all of this, very coordinated prison break, you know, I don't know.
Well, this is the guy that's ruined his life.
Mhm.
This is the guy that's
Right, exactly.
tormented him. This is the guy that essentially, like, stole all autonomy and like mentally raped him, or whatever.
Yeah,
Like this is the demon for him. And
right.
so your answer, when there's some other superpower people running around, isn't to like call the Avengers. It's not to like get help, go up the ladder, whatever. It's,
Right.
I'm gonna break out the guy that like it has put me in the position in life where I need the therapy forever, where I'm
Mhm.
on court orders, where I've killed people and I'm going through lists now of the people that I have hurt or damaged or destroyed.
Right.
like, so I'm gonna partner with them.
Right.
I just think that that's like it's kind of it's like something to do in anime more
Mhm.
often than they should, where you start out with someone that's a villain. It's like Dragon Ball Z. Okay, spoiler for Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and Dragon Ball. Spoiler for
Sure.
Dragon Ball. Piccolo is a bad guy. Goku fights Piccolo. They are enemies. Later, Piccolo is like number one friend, trusted confidant. He takes care of his Goku's son.
Mhm.
Vegeta, Prince Vegeta, enemy of Goku. They fight, like trying to fight to the death, trying to kill each other. Ultimate enemies. Later, you know, I guess it kind of makes sense how it goes, but Vegeta's not such a bad guy. I mean, like, sure, he needlessly killed people whenever he felt like it before, but I guess he's not a bad guy now and they can be friends.
Sure.
Um, well, it feels to me like they're doing that thing too
Yep.
here. You know,
Yep.
this guy, like, and with the sense of humor and the different stuff, like it's one of those things where it's kind of liking him in the group or whatever. But he's a terrible person, right? I mean, I don't
Right.
know what he has all done in the past, but just the idea of what he's done alone with the Winter Soldier.
Right.
So I don't know. I just feel like to me, we don't need to go into the seedy underbelly of the criminal whatever, to make this work when we could just call the Avengers. And I know that's an issue in superhero things sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
why do you have to deal with yourself? Why can't you have other people you can go to and then you don't? But
Y-
am I right here? Is
No,
this fair?
yeah, I think this is totally fair because the show kind of glosses over a lot of that. I feel like Zemo is a really great foil to these two characters, and when he's first introduced, like right after the prison break, he's got this like great, like banter back and forth with our two main characters. He kind of brings out their witty banter with each other, and it all works and it all gels. But it only works if you think of him as like criminal light. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like if he
exactly.
had done something that was just a tad less egregious and a tad less terrible, especially against Bucky, like it would work because it's like, oh no, he's a criminal, but we need him. Like, we're having this whole like Three Stooges, or like we're emphasizing the buddy cop humor, and it works. But then when you stop and think, like you said, this guy is the reason for Bucky's nightmares. He's the reason he needs a list at all,
Yeah.
of people that, he needs to make amends to. It doesn't work because you can't be that lighthearted about him. So it's really tough because I noted that I think he's a better foil for Bucky and Sam than the new Cap is. It's almost
Yep.
like they've sort of reversed positions. Like Zemo is oh, he was bad, but we're redeeming him through this like humorous interaction and he's helping us. And Cap is like well, not slowly, I should say. He's very rapidly going downhill. And so you can't really play off of him. There's no comedy there because he's like pursuing justice to the point of obsession and he's getting so full of himself that he's just not fun anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, so like story element wise, this all works. But like I said, when you stop and think about people's actual characters, it's pretty terrible.
Yep.
Like, I just don't know
And
that Zemo fills this role in that way.
so I'm looking it up. I'm looking up the character a little bit here
Sure,
in
yeah.
the MCU. And, this thing is so former colonel of the Sokovian Armed Forces and commander of Echo Scorpion. So understandably, this is after Battle of Sokovia. Zemo became a terrorist mastermind who sought revenge against the Avengers after losing
Mhm.
his family and became obsessed with destroying them.
Mhm.
So making sense because of all the chaos and everything that he would see as the
Yeah,
Avengers being responsible for. So it's where
sure.
why be against superpowered people and stuff, seeing
Sure.
all the damage they can cause. But when you gloss over, and I don't know if the movies have addressed this, became the terrorist mastermind. Well,
Mhm.
what did those terrorist things include?
Right,
You know,
exactly.
what exactly was that? Did he like bomb all sorts of places? How many people has he killed? Or is this just terrorist in the sense that he's been labeled that, but he's really
Right.
just, what's the severity level here?
Yeah, yeah.
He pitted
Terrorists
the
can mean a
Avengers against
range
each
of
other,
things. Yeah.
so, um, and let's see, framing Winter Soldier for killing T'Challa,
Right.
which caused Captain America to defend Bucky from the world. That caused the Civil War.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, he's got some ripple effects there, which are quite major, obviously, for not only the Avengers, but for the larger world or for larger countries. Which is, of course, then now why this episode ends on this great, cliffhanger where one of the Dora Milaje is now here and she's here for Zemo. And what are they going to do about that? But yeah, it's it's tough to see where this character is going and see how they're sort of treating it so lightheartedly now.
Yep. So I might have to eat some of my words here because most of Bucky's problems resorted directly from Hydra. Let's see. So when does okay. Okay, so however, they eventually learned that Zemo framed Buggy and
Yep.
reactivated his brainwashing.
Yep.
So it's really less than I had remembered because all the major sins and crimes had been committed largely were due to the brainwashing from Hydra. Well, then this guy Zemo got the code or whatever,
Right.
to
But
reactivate that control.
that's pretty terrible in and of
It's still
itself.
bad, yes.
And it also, obviously, like you said, he caused like this framing of Bucky, which caused civil war with the Avengers, and that's pretty terrible, unfortunately.
But if you see the Avengers as a threat to the world,
Oh, of
we
course,
don't want
yeah,
these nuclear weapons running around,
yeah,
with
yeah,
this autonomy. Then we want
right,
they're gone. Look, they destroyed my entire nation. What are they gonna? Whose nation are they gonna destroy next?
right. And I would
Make them wipe each
understand.
other out.
I would understand that mindset. I'm just like thinking of potential in terms of not even like the Avengers destroying each other, but whenever you have superheroes fighting superheroes, there are casualties. And if you're going to deliberately provoke superheroes to fight against one another, they don't just like fight against one another in a vacuum. They don't like leave Earth and they're just like, sorry, we'll just like, take our disputes elsewhere. It's like, no, there's always casualties, there's always damage. And so provoking superheroes to fight one another is never going to be, you know, casualty free.
Well,
It's never going to be like perfect where they just like, oh great, they're just going to destroy each other and leave everybody else. Thanks.
and there are casualties in war, so you make that calculation. Well, people are going to die either way. So do we want to hopefully take out half of these guys in the process of that, or
right? But
what?
it's very Machiavellian thinking. Like the end justifies the means. Like, are we okay with sacrifice if a couple of Avengers take each other out? Which I think this, to kind of bring it back to this episode explores a little bit with, on the converse side, with the Flag Smashers, where they're having that meeting and Carly is like, you guys are responsible for all this pain and destruction and you're withholding supplies from people who need it. And then she like blows these people up and her lieutenant is like, whoa, there were people in there, we killed them. And she's like, that's the only way to make these people understand. So this very Machiavellian way of thinking is kind of explored on both sides, which I found very compelling in the episode, for sure.
I will see what they do yet with that group, with the Flag Smashers, and if that's explored anymore.
Yeah.
because if it's left at just that, like it's not enough, because yeah, it could be interesting to see
Hmm.
what happens there. But I mean, like obviously the trying to humanize, um, it worked better in here than in the other
Hmm.
one. Have that guy
Yeah.
just awkwardly run and get shot down.
Yes. God. Yeah, I'm glad they don't have anything like that anymore. No, this episode did a lot better in like you say, humanizing the flag smashers, between their personal interactions, between their leader Carly's tender moments with her mother, and talking about their founder and how she should have been alive to see you know their work that they were doing today. So yeah,
Yep.
a little bit more meaningful on the human interest side.
Oh, and we did have that moment too where Bucky's like, if you don't take it back, like I will, like, because Sam's like, maybe I should have just destroyed it, or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like,
which which I did have to laugh at a little bit, because I was like, you're really feeling like you can destroy vibranium?
yeah,
Like,
get to, I don't know what you do.
how?
You
How?
send it to space. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
it was kind of like a weird moment where I was just like, well, that's sort of an empty threat, because how are you going to do that?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, interesting human interest moments, both through the flag smashers and through Bucky and Sam.
Yep.
Kind of talking again about Steve Rogers and his belief in both of them, for very different reasons, and why this is problematic, that they're not believing in themselves if they don't they're not able to believe in themselves if they're not able to commit to how Steve Rogers felt about them.
Yep.
But then, Zemo brings up a great point when he says, when we put these superheroes on pedestals and we make them icons and we make them symbols like this, we forget that they're human, and we forget that they're flawed, and we put too much trust in them, and we put you know, um too
Yeah.
much emphasis in their beliefs and not enough in ourselves. And maybe that's kind of what Bucky and Sam need to hear, that, even if they don't live up to Steve Rogers, they can still live up to their expectations of themselves. Because he's, at the end of the day, he was just a man.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why like Superman and Captain America, with their original conception, work so well in the comic books, because it is a cartoon figure and it can be like a deity. It can
Hmm.
be a thing that
Right.
is beyond fail, that can stand for whatever, and isn't infallible. But
Hmm.
when you're going to try to ground it and make it like real, then yeah, you realize that's based on, that is just a person, and
Yep.
people aren't infallible. And so yeah, it's not, it is on an um untenable expectation to have that one person is going to represent whatever thing,
Hmm.
represent America, represent an entire nation or whatever, and that's what it's going to
Right.
be, and is going to manage to uphold those ideals or something.
Right.
um it's not a realistic thing. And so I think that, that's why Captain America, to me, then identifies, or like the identity of Captain America is Rogers, is Steve
Right.
Rogers.
Hmm.
So you move on from that, because
Right.
Captain America isn't just some face behind a shield. It is him. And to me, like in the DC world, we were playing our game the other day, it's like you have Superman, but then you also have Stargirl, and there's like these different people that you can still, if you want them to represent the flag or something like that, they still can, but they're different people. They're different
Right.
heroes,
Right.
you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still very interested what how they're gonna. I mean, I think I know how they're gonna end it, but I'm still interested to see how they get there, I guess. So
Yeah, yeah. The journey is taking a little bit more of an interesting turn with episode 3. So I'm glad to see, this ship is sort of righting itself. because I was pretty down on episode 2.
Yep. Well, yeah, 3 episodes left.
Yeah,
5, 6, yeah.
just 3, going quick, going real quick.
Any final thoughts on?
I feel like we just have to mention this because we haven't said it before. Sharon Carter comes up in this episode. So that's kind of I mean, it's very significant, because she, of course, helps Bucky and Sam and Zemo, move forward in their quest to, track down, um, the soldier serum and who has it and who it's being used on and whatnot. Um, and of course, we get in this episode that she's hiding out in Madripoor. She's become a player on the scene. Very vague at first, but she somehow comes up with all the answers that these guys need to, move forward with their plan. And then at towards the end of the episode, gets in a car and says, "Oh boy, we have problems," which again feels like some foreshadowing of, the title of the episode, which is the Power Broker. And how is no one in the show and how is no one in the audience, I guess, talking about, she's maybe the Power Broker.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I was thinking watching it, I was like, well, she should be in the Black Widow program because
the way she
she's
took
got some
out
superpowers herself or something there. Holy buckets.
the way she took out the approaching gang here was pretty impressive.
So there's some cool scenes there for sure. I I liked, Alan has the picture of the scientist up here. I liked the way that stuff went down. I thought it was interesting. It was well done. Had some cool music in that scene. But yeah, I laughed at that. Sam says, "Oh, I'll clear your name."
I know.
Like, so last episode you couldn't get a bank loan, and now you're going to get immunity. You're going to get a pardon for this person. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy Sharon's reaction of like, sure, that's gonna happen. I mean, she ends up going along with it, I think, very cynically as a, this can't hurt me, I guess, if he wants to try. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, yeah, how is the guy who can't even, help his sister keep a house and a boat gonna, get immunity, and a pardon for, a wanted criminal. But he does make the point of, the very humorous point of, Bucky was pardoned for all of his crimes, which were certainly more numerous than Sharon's. So, how hard could it be in the end? Yeah. And I did quite enjoy his nickname for Bucky, the bionic staring machine.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty great. So it was nice to see some of that kind of humor come through.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much of a role Sharon Carter, now that she's been introduced in this 3rd episode, how much she plays in the rest of, the episodes of this show.
What's this thing you have in there? Who does a stupid shot like that?
Oh, it's like the literal actual shot, like at the bar.
Taking the drink. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who decides that this is their favorite shot? Like this snake belly
it'd be
shot
more convincing
thing.
If that wasn't like only a insane person would want that shot. Yeah. So if he accepts it and like, what a fool. That's right. No one has that. That's gross.
Right. I kept expecting for I kept expecting for the bartender to be like, that's not his favorite shot. Like, who orders like, this ridiculous thing and actually takes it, know? So I was just kind of waiting for that moment, but nope, was totally fine. Totally worked out.
Yep. All right. Well, we covered a lot of ground. all the video game news, Promised Neverland Season 2, Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 3.
Yes.
Holy cow. That was episode 55 of Popcast on the Rocks here on Twitch, but you can listen and follow and like and share in many other places. YouTube, we're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of thing. Make sure you like and share in just direct podcast form. Find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Anchor. Leave us a review there. Let us know we're doing well or poorly. Thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song. You can find them on Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube. So go ahead and do that. I played a little bit with Lucas333 today again. It's Lucas with a K here on Twitch. Played a little Fortnite. If it works out, probably be doing that again on Friday afternoon. They're releasing an Aloy skin and pack for Fortnite. That's from like one of my favorite video games, Horizon Zero Dawn. So it's a character from that, and it's gonna have the new skin and stuff in Fortnite. So I will be certainly paying whatever price it is for that and playing that way. So
excellent.
But yeah, anything else? Anything promote or something like that? Or
no, not right now. You know, just follow us, like us on all the socials, give us feedback, let us know what you think of the episode, what you think of our opinions, what we're right and wrong about. I'm always up for a healthy debate, so bring it.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you as always, Andrea.
Absolutely. Cheers, everybody.